Okay, great. Hi Nidhi, thank you so
Hello,
much for
hi.
inviting me.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. We are live at Convince Me to Read the Book series, and today with us we have Divyansh Bhatnagar. So, yeah, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Divyansh Bhatnagar and I am the author of Two-Sided Dilemma. This is the cover of my book, and I'm also an actor. It's been a very long time when I had acted last, but I'm a trained professional actor. I've been to a film school. I've acted in a couple of short films, and I've done professional theater for almost 5 years. Then it happened to be play of destiny. That's what I talk about in my book as well. That I moved abroad. So yeah, so there are so many different dynamics or other verticals that I have worked in my life till now. To start my journey, I wanted to share something really interesting. So while I was growing up, I wanted to become a pilot. That's how it all started. That the seed of finding your purpose, doing something bigger than life, larger than life, kind of cinematic aspect of being something in life. That was always a part of my upbringing or rather my childhood. So that somehow intricated us kind of reaction in me that I want to pursue something really passionate. So I was preparing for National Defense Academy, and luckily I got selected also. But for so many reasons, I couldn't join the academy for medical. There were some medical reasons that I couldn't pass. So finally, I landed up in Pune in Symbiosis International University. That's where I studied my engineering, and so many different things happened. So that was the phase when I traveled out of my hometown for the very first time. So I hail from Udaipur, the city of lakes. Nowadays, it's really, really popular with Instagrammers and cinema lovers because of the beauty and the serene backdrop.
I have recently been there myself.
So, have
Yeah,
you been there recently?
yeah, yeah.
So that's where I grew up. I studied physics, chemistry, mathematics, and of course cinema was somehow very it was the core of my own persona, my own nature. I would say acting was my alter self, my ego. I can say alter ego. That was my second personality. But that's how when I was in Bices, I got so many opportunities. I even won the title of Mr. SIT when I was in my second year. So that somehow gave me the exposure on stage to act and introduce me to different people in the world of drama and theater. So it was like a chain reaction, and somehow I wanted to become an actor. So that's why when I came back to Bombay in 2017, I went to a film school, and so many different things happened. So now when I look back and I'm like, wow, actually somehow there was a narrative which was being planned. So in hindsight, if I look back, I say, ki, okay, there was something really interesting which was being played. Um, it all happened during the that unfortunate phase we all went under, the 2 years COVID wala phase. So back then when I was in Paris, I was studying there. So somehow there was a story I wanted to tell. There was somehow a very conscious choice that I sat down and I thought कि अगर मुझे कोई बात कहनी है, so what would that be? So I came up with a very interesting concept that in life we are always stuck around different choices. As we are growing up, we face so many choices कि अरे साइंस लूँ या कॉमर्स लूँ, मैं क्रिकेट खेलूँ या फुटबॉल खेलूँ, अरे वो लड़की अच्छी की है लड़की अच्छी. There's so many dilemmas that a person faces while growing up. So that was the core idea that somehow when I look back into my life, I realized, okay, even I had so many dilemmas while growing up. I had so many choices to make, but somehow I felt that it was all destined, that today I'm sitting in front of my computer, and if I'm thinking to write something, maybe this was all destined. So this question came up: okay, is love a choice or destiny? That's what my book talks about. It's a story of coming of age where my protagonist Raghav, when he's growing up, he's facing so many dilemmas about choosing different careers, and he discovers that he finds two women interesting at the same time. Now he's in the quest of making a choice between those two women. So in the midst of all the chaos, he's trying to find out or discover himself. That's the story all about. So again, it has drawn so many anecdotes and inspirations from our personal life. But I feel when you start writing, it's always somewhere it starts from yourself, because although the book hasn't been written in first person, the book is narrated from like a third person perspective. But I felt that okay, there is something, there is always a soul, that there is a part of you, your soul, that you transcend into a narrative or into a manuscript. That's how Two-Sided Dilemma came into existence.
So you spoke a lot about how um, I think I've screen. Yeah, you spoke a lot about how you have been choosing all these different streams and you have been working on so many different things. And now we are here talking about your book, and that's very interesting and amazing that you're doing all of those things and you're still finding time to, do all of them, not all together, but still. So I would like to ask that how is it that as you said, it's a dilemma to choose anything. So how is it that you chose to, or even found out that okay, writing is was for me, and even engineering was for me, or going to Paris was for me? We'll just wait to we heard a lot from Divyansh, and that was quite interesting. Actually, I loved the way he shared his experience. And as you all know, on Convince Me to Read the Book series, we talk with a lot of authors and we talk about a lot of things. And they all have something very rare and very new to share. Even if you might think that being an author, it's just everything is just about writing, but no, it's so many different things. And yeah, I love knowing about them, and we have Divyansh back. So yeah,
Somehow there was a delay in response time from my internet, so I switched networks. And yeah. So you were asking me about how I got the inspiration to write.
so I was asking that like you have done so many different things, right? And as you said, everything it could be a dilemma or is indeed a dilemma choosing anything in life. So how was it that you came to choose writing, that you came to choose engineering or anything like that? What was the feeling like at that moment? Okay, this is the one.
Okay, so see, to be honest, I always say that I did not choose to write. It was somehow guided. I might try to be a little bit spiritual here. I would like to enlighten something that it's not always that you choose कि मुझे ये बनना है. There's we always tend to keep so many entitlements in life कि I am this, I want to be this, and I want to achieve so many things. But at times we forget that we are all human beings, and ultimately we are just souls. So we are not somehow choosing anything. It is always like we are guided in a way that this is your path. This is how you are going to discover your ultimate purpose in life. That's exactly what happened with me. Although I had been writing consciously since the time I know, because if I have to go back and now share again a different story, so that you will get a backdrop of from where I'm coming. See, so I recently got married in December. So I have had dated my wife for almost over a decade. So, in those days when I was in my school, in high school, I used to write poetry for her. I used to write somehow short stories for her. She still has kept everything, and there's like a Pandora box at her home, and she has saved everything कि इसमें वो सब खजाना है. Someday you will forget, then I'll show you कि ये देखो तुमने मेरे लिए लिखा था. So I always tell her कि maybe that foundation for writing was always it happened back then when I started dating, and somehow she became the muse. So even in my book, although this in my book I haven't referred to her directly, but the characters, both the women, somehow these two characters have drawn out of her. They're all inspired from her personalities and her traits, and somehow they both are the shades of who my wife is. There are different color palettes of her. So just to give you an example, there's a character called Dia. She wears scrunchie. That's the identical she wears a pink scrunchie. That's what identifies her personality. In real life, my wife, she loves to um, wear a scrunchie, and she loves accessorizing herself with some different pink color and purple color shades on her hair. So that's how I got some inspiration for that character. So there are so many different people I met while I was growing up, and that's how I kept drawing inspiration from so many people, and in the end I mixed on my own imagination, and that's how the entire narrative was created. Now, to answer your previous question about engineering, see, as I told you before that, I wanted to become a pilot. That was my first choice. So I even got, I even cleared SSB. I got through NDA, but somehow I couldn't make it through because of I was, there was some marks that I didn't, I couldn't pass the medical board. There were certain marks I had to make sure that I had certain points which I couldn't qualify. So because of those reasons, I had to join engineering college. So luckily, my grades were good in higher secondary board and secondary board. So somehow I got into symbiosis, and it was like a different world I wasn't prepared for. So that's when I discovered about myself, who I am, what I love beyond academics, become beyond that a dream that I had just seen burning in front of my eyes because I couldn't join the armed forces. So that was like the only dream I had pursued for the longest period of time I could remember. So I saw that कि यार now वो चला गया, now what next? So because it was really really close to my heart, I was working so hard. And back then I used to wake up early, go for a run, and because in India I had to be physically fit apart from being mentally, emotionally sound. So I went through all the drills. I went to different schools. By schools I mean coaching institutes for, like, you want to go to National Defense Academy. There are different schools. So I went to Pune, and then I went to Delhi for different coachings and examination preparations. But somehow everything seemed to just vanished. So I couldn't join NDA. So that was really heartbreaking for me. So it really broke me in the way that अब मुझे नहीं पता क्या. So that's when I feel that acting was being, that's how I discovered something really profound about my personality. That okay, acting करना, I used to do a lot of mimicry. So वहाँ से मुझे बहुत सारी चीज़ें सीखने को मिली खुद के बारे में. And it all started. So it was like a journey. I always, still I am very firm believer of, you cannot assume what is going to happen next. So you can even if I sit to write, you can have the entire plot or the you can scratch out the entire story कि अच्छा ये होगा ये होगा ये होगा, but कब कहाँ कैसे होगा, you cannot, because those characters have a life and they will guide you while you're writing. They will show you कि now next this is what they want, to talk. If there's a character X, he or she wants to say these lines to the other character. वो आप decide नहीं कर सकते while you're making the outline for the entire book. So I'm in the process of publishing my second book, which I hope will be coming out next year somewhere. So after having written two books, I feel that it's somehow very very relevant to who I am as a person. That you always see the bigger picture, and then start working on it step by step. Then let things happen. They will show up eventually when you are almost there.
So, yeah, it was a huge surprise for me. So, like when you said you're an actor as well, and I have seen I read your the description of your book, how you said the right Raghav, he has a person in his town, and then he goes to a different country, and then that person, all that dilemma and all. And then you said that you are also an actor. So yeah, how come like you have learned acting, as we just you said, and but writing, no one was there to teach, just people who guide you, and then the characters, the inspirations just come on their own, right? So yeah, how was this transition, like from acting to being a writer, or do you still act? Would you like to share something
No.
about?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So Nidhi, I'll tell you something. See, from my childhood, I've been into academics and co-curricular activities equally. So I believe the foundation was laid down almost a decade ago, when I used to write articles and stories for English examination, and sometimes social studies, and even I used to write poetry for my girlfriend. So I believe that writing was always somehow my subconsciously, I was always building up to this point where I'll end up writing a book. while I was acting, I was also writing scenes and screen. There were short films I was writing, and writing was inherently somehow a part of who I was. But consciously, nobody gave showed me the light. Ki, okay, why don't you try writing? So, so I when I met my mentor, he actually saw that okay, I had an idea to write a film. So he, after reading my concept or the few pages, he said that why don't you try writing a novel? So apparently he's also a film director. His name is Subhasta Daksh Pandey. So he's a director. He knows what kind of film writing is in demand today. So he suggested that I should work towards writing a book. So that was really surprising for me because I had no idea how am I going to accomplish this, because देखो एक बात होती है 5 पेज लिखना या एक पोएट्री लिखना. When you start writing 50,000 words, it's a different ball game because it's totally different. It was like a new territory for me. But as I had told you before, कि sometime at times you don't know what is next, but you just have to close your eyes and take in a deep breath and believe in yourself कि हाँ ये मैं कर सकता हूँ, because there is something I believe it might happen. And that belief somehow was so strong that I followed that instinct, I followed that guidance within me. And when I started accumulating my thoughts and I started crafting the story, then I believe that it was all placed sequentially in the right direction, that it ended up becoming two-sided dilemma.
Yeah, and you are still going to write a new book, as you said that you are still working on a new book. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, have you always been like this? If we can say that the genre of this book would be called romance, right?
Yeah, ideally or technically it's young adult romance.
Yeah, a young adult.
So,
And so, will your next book be also something similar, or is it a non-fiction, or as you
no,
said,
so
it
my
will be?
next book is very different from this one. My next book is about karmic relationships, and it's a
Okay.
bit mature topic. It talks about reincarnation and how karmas affect your life. So again, the story revolves around a couple, a married couple, and what are the chaos, the entire kind of instability in their relationship that they're going through. But somehow it's all karmic, that from past life and from current life there are different karmic debts that they have that accumulated. So now they're unfolding as their life is going ahead. They are actually going through a kind of a metamorphosis. They are transforming into different personalities. So that's more philosophical and very spiritual in its nature. So that book is really different from two-sided dilemma. आई वुड से टू साइडेड डिलेमा उन बच्चों के लिए जिनके पेरेंट्स मेरी नेक्स्ट बुक पढ़ना चाहते थे. So they will happily read my second book. So it's like I can now my two books can be in the same household for two different category of people.
That is okay. Yeah, that's nice. Uh, so I would like to know a little more about how, what was, as you said again, the two books are very different in itself. And so, what was the best part about writing Two-Sided Dilemma? Like, there would be something, as you said, the characters could be an inspiration from your wife and the guy in the story, and there are a lot of characters. So, what was the best part of writing, and the best part in the story that you feel?
When I started, I had like I remember I was in Paris, and there's a beautiful district in Paris called Montmartre. It's the 18th district in Paris. So Paris is divided into 20 districts. It's like the like circles. The city is divided into circles, concentric circles. So that district is so beautiful. I've also started the book starts in Montmartre somehow. So the character somehow is is based there, and he's sitting in a cafe, and he gets an inspiration to write a book for a woman in his life. So because that district is so beautiful, that inspired me when I'll tell you about that district. So basically it's like an art district where when you go there you find artists like the sketch artists and caricature artists who are walking around the streets, and they will ask you if you want a caricature or a self portrait for like a 10-20 euros. So it's like that, you can find people doing live art, music, coffee, and it's like a great colorful place. So every time I used to go there, I was like, yeah, shit, ये तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा सुंदर है. How can I actually um, imbibe this, how can I recreate this somewhere. I really wanted to paint that scene, I wanted to be a part of that, that place. So that place became so inherent and also prominent in me, that I was sure कि मुझे तो इस book में कुछ ऐसा scene रखना है which starts or which has Montmartre as a key pillar. So that's where I believe that the seed of inspiration came within me. But if you'll ask about my favorite part, so what happened? I remember it was 2020 December. France में लॉकडाउन लग गया था, and it was a difficult situation. It was apparently the second or third lockdown. So everything's reopened then, for a while, and then everything started again shutting down, and it was really bad. So me and my friends, we went to a French village for celebrating New Year's, and by the time I had started writing the book, and somewhere I was stuck. I didn't know कि अब next क्या, because I had finished a huge chunk. I would say 60% of my book was written, but again the next 40% I didn't knew कि अब next what should I write, because whatever I had written came from so much of memories. It also came from my childhood memories, the way I grew up, my parents, my friends, my family, my girlfriend, my friends, everything. So they had played their parts. Now the book was almost 60%. I would say it was just the batter was ready, now the baking was left. Then I took a long break, maybe for 2 months or something, that I didn't know what to do. Then I was watching a TV show, I was reading another book, and there was a thought that hit me, that there was something that made me write. So when I started writing the last 2 or 3 chapters, I believe last 2 chapters, the French connection and the wedding, those 2 chapters are really like off the shelf. I still believe that the kind of writing or the kind of narration is there in those last 2 chapters. They are really, really, somehow very different from what I had started off with. So as a writer, also somehow I grew up while writing. So that's how the process is. When you start doing something, वो धीरे धीरे धीरे, as I told you, कि वो अपने आप आपको रास्ता दिखाने लगता है, and you start finding out कि okay, what will happen next. So I put those characters in these places. Now I didn't know what they will do. I wanted them to discover. So there was some kind of a conflict these characters were going through. So these characters were going through, like my main character Raghav was going through you know psychological problems. So somehow he started seeing the other women everywhere he was going. So he felt that maybe there is some kind of a psychic problem he's having. So he eventually meets a psychotherapist in Paris. So that therapist opens up his heart and his soul, and shows him his own truth. So that's how he discovers his own reality. So that's a beautiful part when he's going through a transition. So I won't give away too much about the book, but वो बहुत ही special. Like I feel that certain pages, or rather last 2 chapters, are really close to my heart.
So beautiful places lead to beautiful stories. So,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, I did not expect that this would be something, as you said, some psychology stuff is also there. So, yeah,
So
that's
it's like,
also a surprise. And so, as
yeah,
you speak, there are surprises coming one after the other. And yeah, I am completely convinced that, okay, this is two-sided dilemma. I do not have to be in the dilemma to just go pick up this book. So, yeah, I absolutely loved everything you said about the book. And yeah, I'm very excited to read it myself. I would like to ask you also that what
Mhm.
was the author like? You said a lot things about how the book the place and the book you wrote and the inspiration. So something. Sometimes did you also have a dilemma like okay, something about the book that did not seem as encouraging or as because again there are a lot of things in life that you feel like you said in engineering that got uh, lost sometimes and anything like that. So there would be a time and everyone's life is there in author's life, in a writer's life. So could you share something about
So if
that
you're asking me
or
post
anything of your
my book
experience?
publication, are you
Sorry?
asking me post the book got released, or are you asking while I was writing it?
Anything, any experience that you would like to share that okay, someone is feeling like that. So Raghav was feeling say like this, and this is how he comes out of this, and this is encouraging to him, and yeah, something like
See, to be honest, as I told you that I had no idea about the literary world. It was like I was a newborn baby, or rather an infant at that point, 2 years back. So I didn't know where to go. I wrote a book. Did my own research about different publishers. Had I been in India, I believe then my journey would have been more guided, because in India there are so many people who can help you in getting a book crafted and published. But I was not living here, so I tried my best, and I found Ocean Press. So they were really supportive and helpful, and that's how my book got published within a year of writing. So that was the best part. Now, after my book was released, I was working in Amsterdam, and I was so much busy with my other job. So by profession, I am a marketing manager. Right now I'm working in an FMCG. I'm a brand manager. So I've studied marketing and advertising. So I also do other stuff, just beyond writing, and doing my own social media thing. But I believe I still, this book is so new. So I'm so happy that Nidhi, you invited me to the show. So this book is still undiscovered, and I believe ये जिस दिन हाथ में जाएगी इंशाल्लाह बहुत लोग इसे पढ़ेंगे. That's the aim and that's the goal, right? So I feel that this book is so untouched and undiscovered as of now, that once it starts, that the ripples effect starts, I'm sure more and more people will read it. They will decipher the meaning hidden in it. They will learn what is supposed to be learned. So that's what I feel, that after the release, immediately I didn't get the kind of response I would have expected back then. But I was naive to think that, because I didn't know a lot about book marketing back then, which I have, over the period of time I have learned now. I had worked recently in an advertising agency. I was handling a major book client. So that all gave me a different exposure to meeting authors, publishers, literary agents. So I believe now I'm ready. That's why I think my book is also now, aggressively I'm trying to push it out, reach more and more people like you. So that's great.
So why I asked this question is because you said once in this video, you said to trust the process and the journey, right? And there is a lot of things in the journey that comes along. When we look back at it, at that time, it does not seem much, but when we are in the process, it feels like it is taking so long, it is so heavy, right? So that's why I asked your perspective on this point. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
So,
very
see,
beautiful, yeah. Yeah, please.
when I was writing this book, Two Sided Dilemma, so as I told you that there came a phase when I had written almost 60% of my manuscript. I didn't know कि आगे क्या होगा, what are the possibilities. So there was a very huge challenge. I never wanted character. There are four main characters in the book: the Raghav, Niharika, Diya, and Aman. So I never wanted Raghav and Diya to ever meet in the story. So that should have been the core, but eventually somehow those characters wanted to meet. So I was like, okay, even if that's, let it happen. If they are ready to meet, I shouldn't say no. So I just kept on, following my instincts and those characters. That's how it all, came to a beautiful ending there. So there came a phase when I didn't know कि अब क्या, what next. So I won't say writer's block, because ये सारी बहुत उन ऐसी terms होती है ना, when you start working in a specific industry. So there are so many jargons that you come across every day. So writer's block is one of those terms people use just to make them feel ki, okay, we are stuck in this writer's block. But I feel in every industry, if you're an actor, writer, director, musician, whatever you are, I feel there always a time you don't feel like doing it, but you have to do it. You just have to sit and think. कि अब क्या, you have to at times when you're not ready to act, but you have to act because it's your show. You have to just be there and perform. But something similar happened while I was writing my second book. It did happen that for a very long time I didn't know. I mean, I started, then I stopped, started and stopped. Then one day it just, I finished my manuscript. So it happens. I believe it's all a process you go through. Um, but that's the best part about it, because while experiencing so many different things, I still believe that I'm in the search of that light. I'm trying to explore myself. I'm trying to find out my niche. I'm trying to find out क्या अच्छा ये वो है जो मैं ढूंढ रहा था. But I believe writing and acting is somehow an integral part of my ikigai. I'm a very firm believer of ikigai. I'm sure you must have read the book.
Yeah.
So I believe that's we are always in that discovery phase. What next? So currently I believe writing is the like it's the calling, and it's something I want to give back to the world, in the sense whatever I have learned and whatever I'm learning, whatever I will learn. I want to share my experiences, my thoughts, my imagination with the world through words, through stories, and given a chance, maybe yeah, I will go back and try
That
again.
is your ikigai, right? Yeah. So we also hope you find your ikigai, you find your light, and with you, we all would also find our lights. And yeah, we'll
Exactly.
go ahead and read Two-Sided Dilemma. I'd love if the viewers would post comments regarding the book. Whenever you watch this live, whenever you watch this video, I am very sure that you're going to love Two-Sided Dilemma, because the way the author is sharing their experience, yeah, it means a lot. And yeah, do share anything that you like. And
You
yeah,
can
we
find it
love
on
every,
Amazon, on
yeah.
Flipkart, and
Yeah.
just
So
grab a
yes,
copy.
I have added the link in the description as well, so you can find the book to Sided Dilemma in the description. Now, to leave our author with the last question, it's a surprise question that we ask every author on the series. So, uh, well, you get to ask me one question about a journal called My Little Book of Affirmation. It is this journal, and it is journal by the Capitals named My Little Book of Affirmation. So, what would you ask to get convinced to? If I answered it right, you'll get convinced to read the
See, to be honest, I already had a question for you.
book. Okay.
So, because
Yeah.
I wanted to know more about the Cafe Buzz, the initiative that you have taken to bring on board authors like me. You are just trying to build a community around. That's the greatest thing you are doing right now. And also, I know you guys have a product out there, affirmation journal. So, I think, what was the inspiration? I mean, it's a great initiative, but what inspired you to start this?
So, as you said, I am trying to build a community. Yeah. And I'm bringing on authors and readers. Like, there are not a lot of times when you can find the right people, when you can find the right thoughts, the ideas, or the things to share with. And I'm trying to build something that, it's not like you do not belong. Everyone fits in. Everyone has something to share. Everyone could be inspired by something. And it's just so easy to get lost in the internet today, because there is too much information, and you have no idea what to take from or where to take it from. So a platform where you can share your own thoughts, maybe, and yeah, from there you are guided, from there you are taken, listened to, and you have community, you have friends, you have just people who you look up to, and people who can look up to you. So similar to that, I'm trying to build this Cafeables. Cafeables is coffee and stories, so cafe and fables.
Great,
Yeah,
great.
from there, this is what inspired me, because I have also been like since 2020. Yeah, this is how I thought, okay, something I can do, something on the internet we can do, something around in like in person we can do, and if I would do something, this is what it is that I want to do.
Yeah,
So that's
I would be happy to a part of in-person show as well. So, where can I buy this journal from?
sorry.
Where can I buy this journal from? This
Yeah,
little
you
book.
can find the link in the description. You can find the links to both of the books, the Two-Sided Dilemma and My Little Book of Information in the description. So yeah, go ahead and grab Two-Sided Dilemma. It is lovely how Divyansh has shared all of these things and all the stories, and yeah, about the Ikigai and about having fun in the journey. So yeah, we loved all of it, and yeah, it was truly inspiring. Thank you so much for coming on the series.
Thank you so
And
much, Nidhi. I wish you all the best with your endeavor, and hope to stay in touch. Have a great evening.
yeah, thank you so much again. Thank you for joining. And yeah, maybe for your next book, we can also do this again.
Yeah, for sure. I hope we can do it in person.
Definitely. So see you next year, and go grab Two Sided Dilemma. Thank you so much, guys. Bye
See
bye.
you. Bye.